Ken Chapman with Connect Building Services, and what we wanted to do is just kind of introduce you to a few ways that you can save some money. Before you call an electrician or a service tech to come out, there's some simple things that you can do that will save you a lot of money and time. Usually when there is a power issue, I always start at the source. So where does your power come into your house? It comes in first at your service, and then at your main distribution panel box, your breaker box. So why don't we take a look at where the power comes into your house, at your meter first, and then we can look at where the power goes from there. It goes to your breaker box. And let's look at each of those locations, and we'll show you how you properly reset a breaker. I've been on a lot of service calls, and a lot of times the breaker just has not been reset correctly. So you're paying a significant amount of money for me to come out and just reset a breaker. Well, some of the most common place today to find your breaker box is in your basement. In older homes, it can be anywhere. It could be in the stairwell. It could be in a closet. You know, the code no longer allows anyone to put a panel in a closet, but in years gone by, that was a commonplace. We'll find it in the closet. We'll find them in cupboards sometimes too. The most common are, you know, the breaker type. The older homes, like in the 40s, even into the 50s, you still get fused distribution panels. Or, they're not breaker boxes, so it's a fused box. The best way to find your breaker, if you don't see that it's actually in the center position, like about right there, that usually indicates a trip. Now if it's here, you want to make sure you take it all the way back and click it back, push it really hard, and then bring it back. Once you've done that, it should re-engage it. Sometimes, if you've had a heavy load, you may need to let it sit for a few minutes and cool down before you reset it. If it continues to happen, then you've overloaded that circuit, and we need to look at, you need to have us come out and check it, see how much amperage is being drawn, and some ways that we can maybe redistribute some of the load. Sometimes the breaker doesn't look tripped. You'll come in here and you won't see anything. So what I like to do is just run my finger lightly down those breakers, and like you see there, you'll find the ones that are tripped, because that little extra pressure will help it go all the way into the trip mode. So now that we've looked at those at the panel, let's look at the outlets. We've got two different types of outlets in your home. You've got a regular outlet and you've got a GFI outlet. Okay, so this is just a regular receptacle, non-GFI outlet. Now this is a regular outlet, but sometimes these regular outlets, like in your bathrooms and your kitchens and your garage, are protected by a GFI outlet that's further up line. So even though it's not a GFI outlet, it may be protected by a GFI outlet if it's in one of those areas, a garage, a kitchen, or a bathroom. So what you need to do is just make sure you look in the area, in the kitchen or in the bathroom, or even in another bathroom or somewhere else in your garage, and see if there is a GFI outlet in there and if it is indicating that it's tripped. Okay, so this is a GFI outlet. You can tell by the two buttons that you have in the center. Newer ones have a little light that indicates whether or not it's tripped. Some of them are green if they're not tripped. Others only go red if they are tripped. So I'll trip this one. You see that the red light has come on. You can also tell that that top button is been ejected or pushed out. If you have an older GFI, it's not going to have a light, it's not going to have an indicator other than that top switch. Sometimes those switches are different colors. In the first versions that were coming out, the top one was black and the bottom one was red. The red was for you to test with, and the black one was to reset. So to reset a GFI, we just push in that top button and it's now reset. So not only does that outlet now have power, any outlets that are behind this one, like we mentioned before, you can have up to 5 behind one GFI, and they're all being protected by this GFI. Now the GFI will trip usually before your breaker trips. So this is another area you're going to want to check if you are missing power in some outlets. Now that we've looked at the outlets and we've determined there's not a problem here, the next place we look at is what you've plugged into it. Is it plugged in properly? Is your TV plugged in? Do you plug into a power strip before you plug into the outlet? If you do, I can't tell you how many times I've come out to a job, a residence, even a business, and all I've done is turn the power strip back. Okay, so what we have here is a power strip. Pretty common. You plug it into the wall and then you plug multiple devices into it. Now here is the on-off. The line indicates on, the 0 indicates off. So always make sure that that's on. Sometimes it's good to cycle it to make sure that that switch is making good contact. And then also just pull it out and look and see if there's any fuses or little breakers that are on it to reset it. This one doesn't seem to have any, so that would be the only place to look, would be the switch. One thing to look for in your power strip is sometimes they do have a little fuse breaker that you need to reset. The final thing we should check on is whether or not the device, whether it's your computer, your TV, or whatever you're trying to use, is actually plugged in correctly and actually is plugged all the way into the. Once we've gone through all these issues, the breakers, the GFIs, the power strips, the outlets, your device itself, if it still isn't working, then it's time to call an electrician to find out. You know, you probably have a bigger issue than just these simple items that can actually, if you check them and find the problem, save yourself a lot of time. So after you've checked all these issues and you still have a problem, I'd love to have you give me a call and I'll come out and fix your problem for you.